to the Nonprofit Edge live stream. We are so glad that you're tuning back in. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, we are bringing you all the insights, strategies, tips, resources, technology updates for the nonprofit industry during a very challenging and complex time. And we have a very special episode for you. Special guest alert. This is episode 11, and we are talking about tech solutions out there, how your nonprofit can get a better idea of the solutions that are out there and how to compare a few. And I'm going to have Joe introduce our special guest. How are you, Joe?
I'm doing great. I'm very excited for this one today. I'm going to be probably more of a spectator in this one than most, and I'm very excited to get the information.
I am too. We've had a lot of guests on our episodes and all fabulous, but I think this topic is really important because nonprofits have some, decisions out there to make with technology, and they have choices, and sometimes it can get confusing. But we have a wonderful guest out there who's going to break it all down for us. So you want to introduce him?
Sure. So I want to introduce the community to Adam Alves. He and I work together to sell iMIS to new customers. I believe we've started and finished or started for this year. So we work together. Adam handles all the sales side of things, and I handle the demos and also the implementation proposals. And I've pretty much decided that, moving forward, anyone who comes to me and they want my advice on implementation, I'm going to bring in Adam because he adds a lot of value to these engagements. When we had this episode about this competitive landscape, nobody knows that better than Adam Alves. I mean, that's his core specialty. And I think a lot of people are going to be blown away with his knowledge today. I also really love how Adam works with the customers. He gives that white glove treatment, and he makes sure customers get the best prices and everything like that. But I really like how he cares. I mean, he really cares about the customer, which really matches we care a lot as well. So I think, everyone's in for a treat today. I'm glad to have Sarah here as well. She has got a good point of view, and I'm ready to sit back and just hear what he has to say. And
Yeah.
Welcome, Adam. Thank you very much for doing this. Appreciate it.
Yeah, welcome. So I think we have a great panel today, and I think we're going to bring you some amazing content. So go ahead, pull out a piece of paper, pencil. Let's start taking some notes. And Adam, welcome. So I'm going to dive into the first question. I want you to tell us just a little bit about yourself, what your background is, what you do for ASI, how long you've been with them. You want to share with the audience just a little bit about
Sure,
yourself?
I'd love to. And thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to this. My name is Adam Alves. I'm up in Boston, Massachusetts. I'm a performance improvement leader, fancy name for a salesperson here at ASI. After business school at the University of Massachusetts back in 1992, I got into the institutional bond business. So I spent close to 20 years servicing the needs of institutions in their fixed income, bond trading needs in the capital markets. It's interesting because right when I was getting into the bond business, my cousin Bob Alves, who's one of the founders of ASI, was starting Advanced Solutions International. And he said, if it doesn't work out in the bond business, keep us in mind. And I'm like, well, nonprofit versus for-profit bond trading. It was hard to stop the fixed income part of my career, but I stayed in touch with Bob, and I watched the evolution of iMIS over the decades. And when he came out with the cloud version, I said, it's probably time to come back and revisit things. So, I would just say from a company perspective, it's really, really unique that the same two founders of the company, Don Robinson and Bob Alves, are still leading the company today. There's been so much buying and selling and repurposing and repackaging and reselling different software packages in our industry. And that really leads to, leadership shakeup. It leads to development dollars kind of disappearing. Customer service tends to suffer. So, with ASI, we've got a lot of unique things happening here. And we're a big, strong company, over 300 full-time employees working directly for Advanced Solutions. We make our software in Austin, Texas, in our tech center. The corporate headquarters is probably right where it needs to be, right over the river from DC in Old Town Alexandria. We're also up in Canada, UK, and Australia. iMIS is #1 in market share around the world for, I think it's associations over 1.5 million. There's over 50 million members. 40,000 staff users logging in every day, servicing the needs of these members. And we're operating in like 28 different countries. So it's a big, strong company. We've got a real great global presence. And we work with so many different types of groups over the decades. We've got trade associations, professional societies, straight membership groups, unions and reg bodies. We've got clubs and faith-based and charities. There's definitely some commonality here, but there's a lot of differences. There's a lot of things that make these associations unique. And iMIS has really been refined over the decades. The data mapping, the table structure, the logic layer in iMIS has been refined to the point where it can meet the needs, the unique needs of different individual groups, whether it's unions and reg bodies doing grievance and case management, the organizational membership structure, believe it or not, a true relational database. So a lot of the vendors out there, they don't really have that component. So just being able to make connections, create security groups, and really understand the needs of these different groups, it's really been a heck of an evolution here.
Nice. Well, I think that may lead me into what your competitive advantage is out there, because you do have a lot of nonprofits who do have choices out there. They have other software solutions out there. So can you maybe dive a little bit deeper when somebody wants custom or package solutions? Let the nonprofits out there know what iMIS offers over some of the competitors out there, what their options are.
That's a great question, because especially the larger institutions, they're really in that, should we do custom or stay custom? A lot of them have been custom over the decades. Or do we look towards a package solution? The custom build, a lot of times it tends to never end. Once you think you're where you're at, you built what you need for today, all of a sudden the environment changes, the landscape changes, and then you're often, paying developers to go ahead and do, modifications to the software. A package solution like iMIS, one with this kind of history, it's going to give you all the tools and resources you might need today, but also far into the future. If there's a bug.
Can I add to that? Because we actually have a client right now. They're a large nonprofit, and they have a totally custom system, and it's a good job. It's a lot there, but they want to move to iMIS, and the people that want to move the most are the developers that built the systems. They wanted to move to iMIS the most because they know that we need to get to a package solution that's going to keep up with the security of the times, and so it's just kind of ironic that the guys that built this solution now are like totally on board, and we're going to be going live with them, and we're going to be replacing all that. But it's definitely doable. iMIS is extendable enough that you can replace any custom system. Go ahead, Adam, if you wanted to finish. I just want to add.
I was just going to say, from a security standpoint too, you have to stay on the forefront of things, right?
Exactly. Right.
Recoveries. There's just so many ways that a custom system kind of get left behind. Right. Let's say a bug fix. Well, if there's a bug in iMIS, we're going to find it probably before the client does. When a custom system, you find that bug, you got to call the developer. It's just a different approach. So when you have a real modern system like iMIS, package solution like iMIS, it really is an excellent option. In fact, G2 is a great review site. I think it's 60 million people come through reading the pros and the cons of all the different software solutions.
Can I ask a quick follow-up? I'm interested to know, how does it stack up against other competitors? How does iMIS stack up against maybe the top 2 or 3 that are at least perceived as being, that's kind of something.
We're the spring leader, been a leader for 9 years in a row. There's actually a grid where you can go on G2 and you can see our position and the position of the other vendors in the industry. And like I said, we've been a leader for 9 years in a row. And when people ask me, why is iMIS so successful? For me, it always comes back to the fact it's the most widely supported package solution in the world. There's over 80 authorized iMIS partners out there, like John Consulting, they're at AISP and iMIS Solution.
Right. Well, what about Salesforce? Why is it better than Salesforce?
Well, Salesforce it's interesting, the CRM with the Salesforce model. You're sort of building your house on someone else's land. They make a business renting out their database, and you've got companies that will bolt on to that database, and then you're accessing your data through API calls, and those aren't free. They add up, and that could be a variable cost for you.
Well, isn't it? You're paying 2 vendors. You got Salesforce, and you got another vendor, and you got 2 upgrade paths and 2 systems, and it's just it's not ideal.
Yeah, and Salesforce, they have no stake in the game. Something breaks, well, find a new vendor or integrate something else. But it's the integration components too. In Salesforce model, it's plug and play supposedly with integrations, but then when something breaks, everyone points the finger at each other. It's just we're just a different model to that. We have.
Well, then no one's got anything on iMIS with plug and play. I mean, the iMIS API is second to none. I mean, it's good. Yeah. So, any other competitors worth mentioning, or maybe we just move on? I don't know if there's.
Maybe we can do a different one. We actually get into details on the specific competitors. But I would just say, view it from a company perspective, because we're the most widely supported. There's over 1,500 certified iMIS professionals out there.
Yeah.
outside of our own staff, folks like John Consulting and others, a lot of them worked for associations in the past. Some have worked for ASI in the past. So you'll never be alone when you buy iMIS. And they're out there every day configuring iMIS, using the iMIS toolkit to configure iMIS to do things. Maybe things that it really wasn't intended to, to do natively, job boards
Right.
or,
Well,
volunteer
and the
management.
iMIS community, I mean, that's huge. It's a nonprofit within a nonprofit AMS. You got thousands of people, and yeah, I mean, it's yeah. But anyways, Maureen,
And that's a great point, because our user group, IUG, we don't even own it. It's its own independent.
right. It's an
501c3.
independent. I've been a member for years. So yeah, I'm a member of a nonprofit. I have to be. It's very important, So that's
It's got a paid
and-
staff. It's got a board of directors, has a career
Yep.
center, has a learning center. There's regional meetings throughout the year, virtual meetings happening all the time. There's also one big annual conference, typically down in the DC area. But the
Right.
iMIS community itself is the largest independent community for nonprofit software in the world. You put a question in the community, you're probably gonna get 6 answers in about 6 minutes.
Right.
People sharing ideas.
I
talking
answered
best
2 yesterday
practices.
myself.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just such a vibrant community, people helping each other, sharing ideas. It really is
Yeah.
a tremendous member benefit.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to add one thing, because we see the evolution of technology just absolutely skyrocketing, and AI is infiltrating things, and it seems like iMIS, with all of the opportunities and all of the updates, upgrades, the plugins, the plug and play, everything you can do to customize for a nonprofit and how that evolves. But it's also looking at the customization for the way the nonprofit is evolving in such a complex and challenging environment, and how they're having to pivot. So between, John consulting agencies, strategy, and it seems iMIS, you can really partner with the way the nonprofit is having to pivot and use the technology. So it isn't just the outside evolution of technology. It really is, what are these nonprofits having to do right now as well?
Yeah, it's a great point. And if you think about where I like to start is the strategic goals. I can always go on the website, read all about their strategic goals, and then figure out how do we map their digital transformation to those strategic goals. There's a lot of times the goals are sitting there, but no one's really thinking about how to map the technology
Yes.
to those goals. And
Yeah.
in a lot of cases, with a lot of these other vendors out there, you might end up with a system that you don't host, and they call it a cloud system, but is a true commercially updatable software, SaaS system. Well, iMIS is, right? It's Microsoft technologies, 100%. .NET, runs on a SQL database. The hosting environment in Azure, I think it's 96% now of the Fortune 500 companies are out there on Azure. But risk management, huge thing to consider, right? We're GDPR, PCI, ISO compliant, but the backups and the recoveries, managing risk should be the number one goal of any organization. Of course, the member experience is super important, and staff efficiencies, obviously. There's a lot of ways to really streamline, stop doing manual tasks, and really be able to, work on mapping the benefits back to the individual automatically. But no matter where you are in your process, just ask the question, is this a true commercially updatable SaaS system, just like Outlook? Bug fixes, new features come out, UI enhancements come out. Are they available to everybody all at once?
Automatic upgrades,
Or am I literally disguised in a custom build that I'm just not hosting?
Right. And the custom builds always cost more over time, always, 100% of the time. One thing I wanted to add to what Adam was saying was that he just made he made several good points. One was that the extendability of iMIS is native. So we just had a very, very important, very well-known client that we sent a proposal to, and they wanted to build a volunteer system and a chapter management system, and they wanted everything just the way they want it. And I really just, because my experience, I just itemized out, this is how we're going to do it, and we're going to use these tools, and we're going to use the iMIS tools, and we're going to build it exactly the way you want it, and then we're going to build it. We can build sales portals, job boards. I mean, anything you want can be created within the product. And it's like 4 times faster than writing it from scratch. And it's part of the product. It upgrades automatically. So it's a totally different world. It's a new era. And we want to make sure all the clients know about this stuff and they're taking advantage of it.
Yeah. So touch on things architecturally. So the software itself,
Sure.
give us a little bit of an idea of kind of the inner workings of things.
So what makes iMIS unique, like I mentioned, it's best in breed from a hosting standpoint, from a security standpoint. But what makes iMIS really unique, and it wasn't always this way. We started off as a name and address database sitting on a floppy disk. We were teaching
I remember.
little old ladies what a mouse was back in the early 90s, or with the first Windows-based system. And we
I
evolved.
was 2002 for me, by the way. 2002, it was the old school, file system. Yep. iMIS 4.
And we evolved incrementally over time, right, into the full-blown iMIS engagement management system. So here's what's unique. Think about iMIS as an association management system with 35 years of intelligence and configuration options built in. The data mapping, the table structures, the logic layer of iMIS has been refined to handle the broad needs of a lot of different organizations. It has all the CRM functionality you possibly want in a modern system. And what makes iMIS unique is our content management system. It's not a third-party plugin like Drupal or WordPress. It's the fabric of iMIS itself. What that gives you is personalization. Historically, for an association to get really personal, it was all manual, right? You just couldn't scale that. With modern systems like iMIS, we know who's logging in the second they log in. Is it a member? Is it a student member? Maybe a board member, a prospect, a speaker, a sponsor, a volunteer. Everyone can have their own personalized journey that's very specific to them.
That personalized journey is important. Yeah. I want to, it's very easy for us to say, okay, who are your constituent types? Okay, just write a query for each one. Our entry level employees can do that in minutes. Okay, now we got the security groups. Now it's like, okay, we can not only secure things, but we can show things based off that security group. So now you got a mass customized process. You could easily do redirect rules, so they get a really unique profile based on the constituency type or combinations. They could pick what interests them and have that stuff show up automatically in their profile. I mean, these are things that all clients are doing right now.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Ask their preferences. Yeah. You'll classify people a certain way, right? You'll have them under a certain bucket, let's say. But what are their preferences? What's their activity with you, right? And that's what builds the journeys. And everyone's very unique. So to map the benefits back to the individual, it's not manual. There's a lot of ways, like Joe just mentioned, a process automation, a lot of ways to really streamline the journeys for everybody, even staff people, when they log in. Everyone can have their own universe that's very, very specific to them. It's it really is a great time.
In the old days, they call that mass customization. So I know all the old terms. So, Sarah, did you have something you want to add, or?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask whether I can tell from the experience of iMIS and being around for 35 years, it's a really great system that people know and love. And what do you think really drives that trust? Is it that personalization that they get with iMIS, or do you think it's something else?
I would say it's performance, which is important. It's also just knowing that you've got a partner here that's dedicated to the development of the software. We listen to our clients, right? Our clients are participating in sprint reviews with us every 2 weeks. They do usability testing with us. They literally have a voice in the direction of the software. And it's always been that way. Whether it's managing risk, whether it's working on those staff efficiencies, whether it's the member experience, we're going to provide the resources and the tools and the guidance to help you be successful, not just today, but far into the future.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah. So I wanted to get into mobile strategies, and I think, Sarah, you had something to add on the mobile aspects. Everybody's talking about mobile because it's so incredibly important. So how does iMIS help associates address this? So I'll start with you, Adam, but I know, Sarah, you had a few things you wanted to add about this. This was important to you.
Yes, mobile is really, really important these days. People are always on their tablets, they're on their phones. And, we've all been to conferences or events where we've had the event app, right? We're able to see the speaker information, look at our agenda, see where we're going next. And that's all great. Our mobile app is called Clowder. Now, the whole iMIS system is built in responsive mobile design. But the mobile app, it's not just a conference app with digital badge scanning, lead retrieval, all those bells and whistles from an event perspective, but it's also a year-round engagement app where members can come to the app and pay their dues, update their profiles. They can collaborate individually with each other. They can collaborate in mobile communities or committees. There's resource libraries there for them. And because it's driving right from the iMIS database, the same way someone might receive an email that says, hey, we just opened registration for an event, right? That could be an alert when they log in, an email out of iMIS. There could also be a push notification on the phone as well. So you really have to meet your constituents on all these various platforms. And mobile strategy, it's tremendous, and it's really driving a lot of engagement these days. And engagement is the key to retention, right?
Absolutely. Sarah, I know you had some really good information to add on this.
Yeah, like you said, mobile strategy is pretty tremendous. I think I read somewhere that about 60% of people use their mobile phones to visit a website over laptops or desktop. So I think that's really important, even from the Gen Z and younger
Mhm.
generation, getting members to join nonprofits, whether that's
Yeah.
membership or just to understand a mission that a nonprofit is trying to get across. Using mobile devices and having a mobile friendly interface is really important. I think Clowder does a great job with
Yeah,
integrating that.
they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very important. All right. So features and functions of iMIS. I think we've talked a lot about it, but let's look at it from an even higher level. And let's look at the competitors, how we compare. So Salesforce, we mentioned that a little bit. MS CRM systems, bolt-on systems. Can you give us kind of on the higher level, what are some of
Sure.
the features and functions that may be a differentiator?
Absolutely. I mean, iMIS gives you a lot of the core functionality that an association will need. Like I said, it's CRM, it's member management, right? The dues billing, the invoicing, fundraising, if you're doing that. We got events of all sizes in iMIS. We're tracking education and certification, e-commerce as well. It could be products, it could be subscriptions, you could be selling coffee cups and t-shirts, right? As well as
Mhm.
all these other ways of maximizing revenue. Non-dues revenue is huge these days. So advertising, sponsorship management, but handling the marketing, built-in email tools in iMIS that actually track the opens and the clicks and records the email
Yeah.
on the record. It's all part of the query engine. Who opened the email, who didn't? Well, let's touch them a little sooner than those that did open the email. But I would say, the rise is a huge benefit. Now, it's not just the member portal, your event microsites and chapters and regions. It can also be your main public-facing website. Now, John Consulting, they do some tremendous work when it comes, to websites. But I would say all these core functionality, it's great. The API is fantastic. We can literally plug and play with any number of third-party systems, whatever might be within your ecosystem. The iMIS database will be that one version of the truth. We're going to pull all the data back into our database, no matter where it might be happening within your ecosystem. It's all part of our engagement tracking and our engagement scoring engine. So knowing who your champions versus, this person or this group, they were heavily engaged last year. This year, not so much. People want to know who's at risk, and you'll have all the intelligence to literally make those identifications and make those decisions on what's next, and have it all be seamless for you. But one of the main differentiators, probably I would say, is our accounting, the finance and accounting elements of iMIS. There has not been a due structure that we haven't been able to meet. Membership structures tying companies to companies, and we give you these core elements where a Microsoft or a Salesforce, they're going to be bolt-ons, but even the events or the certification or the education tracking or the invoicing and dues billing, not designed for Salesforce. So everything's kind of a bolt-on.
Yeah, I want to add to that because, like, basically 99% of our clients, maybe even higher than that, they have all their financial transactions right there in iMIS, and then it's just a one quick export out to their accounting system, either weekly or monthly or whatever their workflow is. So really, iMIS really, like Adam, just to elaborate on what I'm saying, it puts everything, your entire business in one place. And we actually implemented a new client recently where they do a lot, but they have to do everything manual, and these people are up to their eyeballs in work, and they see iMIS and they see what we're going to do is we're going to automate all this stuff. And now these intelligent, highly intelligent, trained association professionals, now they can actually use their skills instead of doing all this manual work to grow the operation and get the maximum performance. So yeah,
that's a
very
great point.
important.
And there's thousands of billing and invoicing scenarios that we can accommodate in iMIS, and none of this requires customization. I can't stress that enough. You're able to do things within the toolkit, integrate iMIS within the toolkit without the need for any custom code.
Yeah, good points.
Yeah. So obviously, iMIS is your flagship product, but are there any other products that ASI can share, with the audience that you have for clients?
Yeah, absolutely. We have iMIS, our EMS, Clowder I did mention. OpenWater, this is a very useful tool. We had to buy the company. I mean, we just had so many partners in common, and the whole idea of submission review and approval. whether it's called
Right.
speakers, call for proposals, abstracts, awards, grants, scholarships, you name it.
Yeah.
Anything to do with submission review and approval, real complex applications. What's nice with iMIS too is as you're building out the breakout sessions with the abstracts, you're automatically creating the sessions in iMIS, right? We own the product. It's a great bi-directional integration. I can't say enough about OpenWater and the ease of use. And it does integrate with any number of AMS systems out there. So you don't need iMIS to actually to take advantage of Clowder or OpenWater. And our learning management system, TopClass, it's one of the top LMSs in the market. Education is huge with associations. It's getting more and more relevant. Certifications are happening. So just being able to deliver the content is super important. And if you do buy iMIS, you'll have access to our LMS because it does power the iMIS Learning Hub. So you'll be able to use that for your ongoing training. But we just try to provide as much as we can natively within iMIS and utilizing these real strategic products to create this flywheel effect. And it's just growing. And remember, one centralized database. So when you're querying, you're querying across all the different
single source of truth, people. That's it.
Filter
That's what it's all about.
filter upon filter. You want to get granular, you want to get creative. Well, you can have all the tools to get super creative. Absolutely.
Nice, nice. So for a nonprofit out there, besides just the features and the functions that they have to evaluate, what are some of the other things when they are looking at a software company and its solutions that they should also consider?
Well, it's always nice when you have a team of developers banging away in 6-man sprint teams, right? You know the software is being developed, but what about beyond that, right? Support and training. People always gloss over this. I can't stress enough how important it is. I mean, we're a big global company, so we're 24/7 web-based support, phone-based support. There is a ton of documentation in the iMIS help site. We have step-by-step instructions and video tutorials on every single aspect of iMIS. And from a training standpoint, our clients get training during implementation, but it doesn't end there. Like I mentioned, we have TopClass, which delivers the iMIS learning subscription, which is all part of your annual fee. There's online training, on-demand training, classroom training. There's over 1,000 hours of instructor-led training. And get this, the same certification programs that we take, our developers take, our partners take, it's all available to our clients as well. So if you have some real champions in-house and you want them to really maximize their investment in iMIS, we really have a great way for you to do that. And we can even have these learning, what do you want to call it? Learning pathways.
Pathways, yeah.
Based on someone's role with your association.
Right.
If you hire new people, if you do cross training, just know there's a dedicated learning pathway for everybody. And we have these little learning bursts happening all the time where a new feature's coming out. A lot of conversations around AI. We should probably do another session on artificial intelligence and how that's playing a role in modern systems like iMIS. But just know that training is super important and it shouldn't end after go live. A lot of cases you get the manuals, good luck, you implement yourselves in a lot of cases, but after go live, there's really nothing there for you. And our larger clients love the fact that they can even have a dashboard. They can have learning administrators and see what courses are available, make recommendations to their team, track their progress. And the whole time you'll have somebody here at ASI to really help coordinate all that. So it's really about maximizing your investment and having the tools and the resources to do just that.
Yeah, I want to add to that. So basically, it's very useful to have this at your desk training. And so when we implement iMIS for new clients, our project manager will work with their project manager, will identify the roles of people, and there's you just assign the courses that speak to that person's role. And then what that does is that gets people a head start. We get them set up with iMIS with their data, they can follow along, and that gets them pretty far. And then we basically follow that up with, okay, let's work through your workflow, using the new system. So it's really great. But I did also want to ask Sarah, because we're very excited about Sarah now is transitioning from being fully John Consulting expert marketer and videographer and everything else. Now those skills are available to our customers. And so she's been using that training. And I'd like to get your take. What do you think? What do you think of the iMIS training?
Yeah, I think the iMIS training is really great. They have some wonderful sessions all about iMIS in every aspect, marketing, if you want to learn more about RISE features, everything. So I think it's a really great tool if you want to watch videos or read articles, supplement your learning. It's a great tool.
Thanks for that, Sarah.
Yeah.
So we have one more question, and I think it's a really important one because I'd like to hear the advice that for nonprofits, if they want to start this process, the sales process, they want to reach out, and some of the questions they may have is, how can I avoid costly mistakes? What is right for me? What are my needs? What are things I want to totally avoid that are just not going to work for me? I don't need this. How can they seek out the right people to help them guide this process and approach this the right way?
That's really a great question, because historically it was RFP driven, right? Put your requirements down, work with a software selection consultant, shotgun it out there to 15 vendors, get a bunch of guesses and no's on a spreadsheet. And that's how you're supposed to, make your decisions. Maybe see some demos, some canned demos, information really being pushed at you. But I would say what you really want to be doing is become a learning institution. Start with your strategic goals, like I mentioned. Understand what's important to you, staff efficiencies, operational performance, obviously, the member experience. If you're a real results metrics driven group and you want to be making strategic decisions, focus on reporting and quality metrics and data. Be a learning institution. Take the opportunity at this very time where you're exploring your options, because digital transformation, it's not all equal out there. You really want to make sure you're partnering with a group that has the resources, the technology, but also the insights to really help you, make that transformation and go deep. Allow them in, have conversations. Meet with the different departments, spend the time, because the devil's in the details. And you really want to make sure that you're working with a group that understands your needs and can really map a project plan that's going to make you successful. Like I said, not just today, but far into the future. RFPs, 50% of them fail, and they fail for a reason. So I would just say, and what we're seeing lately, Joe, even you and I, we'll have an RFP, but they don't issue it yet. They use it as a baseline of understanding for discussions, maybe an introductory demo, and then following that point, when you're sure these are the 3 or 4 groups that we're interested in, at that point, put the RFP out. But the days of just shotgunning the requirements all over the universe and waiting to hear back, those days are over. Take an active role. Listen and learn, and literally work top down. What are your strategic goals, and let's map your digital transformation to those goals and help you be successful.
I like to add to that. Early in our John Consulting, when it was just me, and then later just me and Jenna, we would kind of ignore the old school RFP. We're just like, we're not going to talk to you here. Come and spend 25 hours to write up a proposal, and you got like 1% chance you're probably not going to get it. And so I think nowadays clients are really approaching. They see it more of a partnership. It's not that old school. We're the customer and you're here to serve. It's like, okay, we're working together as a team. It's a long-term partnership here.
It is. Absolutely. And people, they're not buying office furniture, right? You're literally providing something that's going to cross multiple departments. And really take advantage of the tax advantage. Invest into your mission. That's the point here. And don't have, questions due and then no more communications, right? Everything's got to be in right. Open it up, have conversations, go deep. If people are willing to go deep with you, because the devil's in those details. If you got a group that really wants to dive into the nitty gritty, then you've got a potential partner that's really going to help you be successful.
Yeah. It's too big of a decision for your mission and for your future. Yeah,
exactly.
Great.
Adam, I am so thrilled that you are here. Do you want to share with our audience how they can reach you? Find out if iMIS is the right technology for them. Also have an understanding of how they can improve their nonprofit with you with some of the upgraded technology. Let people know how to get a hold of you right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Adam Alves. My email is AMAlves. That's ALV like Victor ES, and that's at imis.com. I'm going to have my number there. Feel free to call me anytime. If you want to reach out by email or give me a call, that's great. It takes time. Right, you think about making a decision. There's no fire, as my grandfather would say. Let's take our time. Let's peel back that onion, and we can move at your pace. And it's a big decision, so we want to make sure that we move very logically, very methodically, and that can all start with just a basic discovery call. So I welcome the opportunity to meet any and all of you. And thank you so much for having me.
I would say any clients that are interested in implementing iMIS with John Consulting, just reach out to Adam. Adam will get you started, and he'll bring it to me, and we'll work together to make sure And I also too, before we close, Sarah, do you have any final thoughts that you wanted to add? We want to include you.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm just very grateful for this conversation, and
Yeah.
I'm learning more about iMIS every single day. So it was really great having you on, Adam.
Yeah. Thanks a
Thank you
lot,
very
Adam.
much.
We really appreciate it. Thanks,
My
buddy.
pleasure. Hope that
All right.
we can do it again and dive into that AI piece I was talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Wonderful.
And for our listeners out there who want to reach out to John Consulting for your next free consultation, we absolutely love sitting down with you. Just reach out to johnconsulting.net. And please follow us, our John Consulting Facebook page, as well as a dynamic, amazing LinkedIn page. Oh my goodness, you have got to go ahead and follow us with our LinkedIn newsletter, obviously tips, tricks, resources on a daily basis. You cannot miss it. We are actually the fastest growing industry LinkedIn business page for nonprofits out there. So you got to check it out. So we will be back for our last episode of our Nonprofit Edge live stream, episode 11. And
Just
it's
one
going
left.
to be, I know, one left in this series, and it's going to be all about subscription. So I'm going to just give you a little bit of a teaser about that. And so we will have our last kick out, not a kickoff, but a kick out. So we've got a couple things that'll be going on. So you must have join for us. Sarah, thank you so much for being here. Adam, so grateful. Joe, we'll be back again for the last episode, and I'll be
It's you and me,
so
baby.
thrilled. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. See you next
All right.
time.
Thanks, guys. Take
Bye.
care.
Thank you.